So those of you that are on the echo printing slash boiled book adventure with me, I wanted to pass on a little tip that I came by accidentally. I'm not sure what you guys are doing with your leftover leaves once you take them out of the papers that you're excuse me, that you're dyeing. But I decided to put them on pieces of copy paper. So I would take them out of the processed pages, open them up, take the leaves out. Originally I was just throwing them in the trash. Then I decided, wait a minute, there's still, there's color on them, they're wet. So I started putting them onto copy paper. And I would just throw the leaves on there, then put another piece of paper, then throw the leaves on there and put another piece of paper. And lo and behold, look how cool they turn out. So this is sort of like the equivalent to your papers when you clean your brayer or you clean off your brushes and you end up with all these cool papers, these cleanup papers. Well, these are your cleanup echo papers. And look how cool they come out. So you get double, basically, of what you are boiling up, because you get all those prints that you get from your process. And then if you take those off and put them on some copy paper, that's what I did. You could put it on anything. You could put it on anything else that you wanted to print. And this is what you would end up with. I think next time I will put them on some book pages and see how those come out. But pretty cool, huh? I like how this came out. And so now I have all these pages to work with in my projects. Now, I know the question that I always get from everybody about everything is, but what are you going to do with all that stuff? Now, what are you going to do with it? Well, I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. So, what I decided to do was do what I really enjoy doing a lot, is making journals. So, I got my papers that I had boiled and decided to make a journal. Now, I just didn't want it to be plain, regular old journal. I wanted to really highlight the process of what was inside of it, all the leaves, and more of a nature theme. So this is what I came up with. And I did the Encaustic Method on the top of both of these. So what I had done, I had picked up some leaves and I put them in a book, just so I could press them, not knowing exactly what I would do with them. Once I had them, I thought, why don't I put some wax on them? That's originally what I was doing. Then after I did that, I liked how it looked, and I thought, well, why don't I do that on the whole cover? So that's what I did. Now, on the bottom of this cover, this is a recycled cover to a hardbound book. And then I put some joint compound on top of it and made it kind of rough in texture. And then I came with some pieces of book pages, and I did the encaustic on top of that. I put 2 of those. Then I decided I would put the leaves, and I did that also. Then I got some twigs, and I just tied some fabric around them and used that fabric to hold all of this down onto the cover. So most of the work in both of these journals was the cover. I know a lot of people put a lot of effort into the interior of their journals, but I wanted to keep the inside more simple. The backs are the fabric that started this whole adventure for me. Was when I tried to do the Ecodyne on fabric, and it didn't quite come out the way I wanted it to, but it's still unique and it's still cool and I still like using it. So that's what I put on the backs. So let me go and flip through it very quickly because it's very simple in that, like I said, it's nothing really fancy. I did put some cloth tabs, I did some sewing, I did a little bit of stamping, but nothing frou-frou and fancy, what I call that. I want this to be a usable journal. So everything in here, I believe every single page except for maybe just maybe just these dividers here that I put. Everything else in here is part of those Ecodyne pieces of paper. And so there's a wide variety of papers. Practically every type that I've done so far is represented in here. I put a few pages that I made photocopies of, just to see how it would copy on my machine, and they came out kind of cool, so I included a couple of those in there also. So there's handmade paper, there's the copies like I said, we've got some envelopes, some of that penmanship paper is in here, some more handmade, some more copy, have the graph paper that just kind of smushed around, didn't do too much, but I still like it. These are the cleanup ones. This was the Manila Folder. I had some little pieces of scraps left over, so I made some little small ones. This is the tracing paper. There's over 100 pages, ready for the account of your adventures. And here's an envelope I did. I think it came out pretty cool. The colors. And this is some handmade paper. It didn't take the imprint, but the colors are still there in the die, and then the back. And the other one is almost identical because, of course, I used all my same papers that I used in the other one from my batches. This was a lot of fun doing something new, something different. I like challenging myself and learning something different and then using that and applying it to what I really like doing, which is making the journals. The same thing with the Encaustic. You know, a lot of people, they do panels, they do portraits, they do image transfers. They do a lot of different things with it, but I thought, I think I'll use it for my journals and I'll make my covers out of that. So that's what I like doing, learning new things, but then finding a way to adapt it back to what I really feel comfortable with, is making journals. This is some scrap paper. The thicker scrap paper comes out pretty cool. The thinner one, it got kind of mushy. I wouldn't suggest using it. But if you do have some thicker, this is also some scrapbook paper. If you have some thicker stuff, and you're trying this process, go for it because it works and it looks pretty cool. And there you go. Now for me, it's going to be wrapping up pretty soon because almost all my leaves are on the ground, but I've collected quite a few, so I'll be able to do a couple of more batches until springtime. It will have to do. So I hope I've encouraged you to try again something new, inspired you to try something new, and now you can try encaustic. I challenge you now to take your leaves and make a journal and do something on the cover with this technique. All right.